When A'ja Wilson stepped onto the set of Good Morning America, fresh off another dominant season and carrying the weight of an entire league on her shoulders, she didn't posture or threaten. She simply delivered a truth that has been simmering beneath the surface for years. The players, she said, are tired of being told to be grateful for what they have. It wasn't anger. It wasn't dramatics. It was exhaustion. The exhaustion of a generation of athletes who have carried the WNBA through its breakout year, only to be told once again that their worth is negotiable. Now, as the collective bargaining agreement races toward its November 30th expiration, the future of the 2026 WNBA season teeters on the edge of an unprecedented shutdown. For the first time in the league's history, the players are not hinting at action. They are openly, seriously discussing a full work stoppage until they achieve what they call fair compensation. To understand how things reach this point, you have to look at the cycles of frustration that have built up over time. But the players aren't just negotiating for higher salaries. They are fighting for a larger truth. They're fighting against the expectation that they should accept less simply because they are women. Fighting against the idea that progress should be slow and incremental. Fighting to dismantle the comfortable narrative that gratitude should be enough in a league built entirely on their labor and talent. And the irony is almost cruel. Just as the league is experiencing its most explosive rise in visibility and revenue, the tensions between players and leadership have reached their breaking point. Caitlin Clark's sudden injury added another layer of uncertainty, and the speculation surrounding it only intensified the sense that something was off. Fans watched her push through back-to-back strains in May, July, and now again. Signs of a body under strain and a star playing under pressure few athletes her age have ever endured. Her mobility seemed compromised, recovery felt rushed, and whispers began circulating about whether she was being forced back too quickly because of the enormous financial pressure she carries for the league. When the Indiana Fever released a statement confirming no new structural damage but gave no timeline for her return, the ambiguity made everything worse. No timeline means no clarity, and in a negotiation year, uncertainty is fuel. Meanwhile, negotiations between the league and players have been dragging on for months. The WNBA's current CBA represents a time before Caitlin Clark, before Angel Reese, before the surge of new fans, before arenas were selling out and viewership was breaking decades-long records. The landscape is different now. Players know it, fans know it, networks know it. The league can no longer pretend that this is the same ecosystem it was 5 years ago. But the offer the league reportedly placed on the table feels, in the eyes of the players, like a relic of the past. Salary increases are included, yes, but nowhere near the level the union has been fighting for. The union is pushing for a 50% revenue share, not an arbitrary number, the same model used by other major leagues. NBA players receive between 49 and 51% of their basketball-related income. MLB players have fought for similar structures. The WNBA players aren't asking to be paid like LeBron James. They're asking for the same percentage of revenue that male athletes receive for doing their jobs at the same professional level. But the league's offer reportedly doesn't even approach that number. It increases pay, but keeps the entire financial structure exactly where it has always been, with ownership and executives holding the lion's share of revenue, while players continue to take the physical, visible risks. It becomes even more complex when you examine the current salary breakdown. The maximum salary for a WNBA superstar last season hovered around $249,000. Minimum salaries dipped into the $60,000 range. These are professional athletes who train year-round, who draw crowds, who travel constantly, and who generate millions in revenue for the league. Meanwhile, the NBA rookie minimum sits comfortably above $1 million. With superstars pushing $50 million annual salaries, critics often argue that the NBA generates significantly more revenue, and that is absolutely true. But what the players are arguing is that the WNBA generates enough revenue today that the current revenue-sharing model no longer makes sense. The league just signed a multi-billion-dollar media rights deal. Team valuations are exploding. The Fever alone rose in value over 270% this year because of one player. And yet the player's share of that growth remains rooted in a decade-old financial model. This tension has been building for months, but the spark that turned it into a wildfire was Nafisa Collier's press conference in late September. Historically, WNBA players have been diplomatic to a fault. They've been careful not to criticize leadership too harshly because the league's existence felt fragile. But Collier changed that narrative instantly. She described dismissive comments from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. She described meetings where player concerns were brushed off. She described a culture where star athletes, the ones driving ratings, revenue, and the league's future, were told to appreciate what little they had. She wasn't just speaking for herself. She was speaking for a collective that had been quiet far too long. And when Caitlin Clark, normally measured and diplomatic, stood up at her exit interview and validated Collier's concerns, the ground shook. The commissioner did not reach out to Clark after those comments. There was no conversation, no clarification, no damage control. That silence sent a message far stronger than any statement could have. The players aren't alone. Public support is behind them. Younger fans especially understand the modern sports economy. They see the revenue. They see the sponsorships, see the growth numbers. They know these women are being paid a fraction of what they're worth. They know that the WNBA's future is tied directly to star power, and that star power is tired of being told to wait. But the argument isn't one-sided. There are legitimate concerns. The WNBA has historically operated at a loss. The NBA subsidizes the league heavily. Some executives argue that a 50% revenue split would sink multiple franchises, especially smaller markets. They worry that a work stoppage could destroy the momentum that Clark and Reese created. They fear the league could collapse under the weight of its own ambition if the wrong decisions are made now. And that is the tragic irony at the heart of this moment. The WNBA stands at its most important crossroads. The players are stronger than ever, the fan base is larger than ever, the media attention is bigger than ever. The money flowing into the league is higher than anyone predicted, but the relationship between players and leadership is more fractured than ever. If the league meets the players where they are, the WNBA could enter a golden age. If they don't, the league risks a shutdown that could derail everything. A'ja Wilson said it clearly. This moment isn't just about the current roster of players. It's about the college stars preparing for their turn. It's about the future recruits who watched Caitlin Clark get knocked to the floor without protection. It's about